And Beth is going to arm the kid. Thank you all for joining us this 4th of July week. And we decided to sit out on the back deck because we haven't had an interview back here, and it's a beautiful night here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Sure is.
So,
shall we cheers?
Happy 4th of July, and Beth, to you too. You'll have to reach in and... Here. Happy 4th of July, everybody. And we are glad that you've joined us, whether you're joining us live or watching this later. Thank you for joining us today. Last week, we had a last-minute stand-in, which was phenomenal. So Johnny is a friend, and he's an advocate. He's a black man. He's an advocate for just and peaceful society. And so he joined us last week. We had a great conversation. I was able to join him and see him speak later on in the week, and he's a gifted leader. He's a leader at the Berea school system, Berea Midland school system, and he just have a candid discussion. But this week we are speaking with, you go by Jess, right?
You can call me Jess.
You're just,
I've been called worse.
And how do you pronounce your last name? Because
yeah, it's a fun one. I blame my dad for that. It's Octavec. I'm pretty sure it's Czechoslovakian, so
okay.
I'm a mutt of all kinds of things, but I'm pretty sure that's where my last name came from. So,
because I've always just called you by your first name.
Jesso,
and,
I get that
Jess
a lot
O,
too.
photo.
Yeah. Yep.
And for those who are sharing this week until next week, you'll have the opportunity to win some photography, some work from Jess. You want to show us what your...
Yes, sir.
And she promised, because what I brought out here today was also Sharpie, so she could autograph the front too. So, so you have...
Yeah, we have this first one here. This is me and Carrie. She's on Team Gen XYZ. You guys are familiar with her, I'm sure. This was our first time meeting up, and the theme was a venomous kind of theme. She did all the body paint on it. We ended up going to Squire's Castle, so that's where that location is, and it came out really cool. And then from her, I met you, and here we are now.
And from there, yeah, we've connected, and I think that creatives have a way of kind of finding each other, right?
Oh, yeah. I've definitely have this one here. These are two models that I met out at Honeybrook, PA. It was kind of a collaborative event that we met up. It was a Wes Anderson theme, so it was interesting. In another pose, I kind of had them looking like the Grady twins, like stand next to each other, like side by side. But I love the composition on this one, so it's open for.
So for those that share, we will draw names next week. And we'll draw 2 names. Okay. So one photo go to one person, and the second photo go to another.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful, beautiful artwork, and the composition is fabulous.
Thank you very much.
And Carrie, again, is a friend. She also interviewed on Tuesday at 7. Mm-hmm. It's kind of just an opening discussion, and by kind of cruising further down your Facebook feed, I found something else we have in common. The question to you is, in the game of volleyball, what is your favorite move? Defense, offense?
Oh, I'm offense. I'm hitting line all day. I miss volleyball so much. I was a right side hitter my whole career, and yeah.
A line kill.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
From the right side.
Yep. Yeah, that was awesome. Always my favorite. I played, 7th grade up until my senior year. I did JO, the traveling leagues, all that stuff. I was year round, so I definitely miss it.
Well, we're gonna have to gather a team. If you're a volleyball player out there, just put like a volleyball player, and we'll have to jump in a sand tournament this year. Those hitting the line is just
that's the best because nobody ever expects it too, and then it's just like boom.
And then they creep over, and then you hit cross court, and then all of a sudden, you leave it open, and otherwise they're going the opposite direction.
What position do you play then?
You know what? If I'm on the opportunity, I'll usually play left hitter.
Okay.
Left hitter.
Yeah.
I'm right-handed, so that's where my swing comes
Yeah,
in.
there you go.
But I've become fond of pancake. Somebody who dinks it, thinking that they're going to get you, and you slide under and just nice easy pancake. And
those are always so satisfying, and it's like you never want to show how satisfied you are either.
it is really satisfying. So I'd probably have to say pancake. It's a defensive move, but it's somebody thinks that they get you sleeping, and they didn't. But
they thought.
Yeah.
Love it.
Photography. And I understand that that's probably where you're spending most of your time now, but that's not all that you do, right?
No, I just kind of started my photography journey, I want to say within the last 2.5 years now. I got into therapy when my brother passed away, which I'm sure we'll get into that soon. And my therapist I was going to, she had suggested art therapy. It's like, well, I cannot draw more than a stick figure. I'm not very good at writing. I'm not good with my words. So I remember in high school I did yearbook, and how much I enjoyed going to the Friday night football games and getting those action shots, and getting the Rocket Rowdies is what we called our student section, and capturing those moments. So I got my camera, just started playing around with like nature hikes, going out by myself, which I saw you went far back on some of my stuff, and that caterpillar shot, that's one of my favorites. That was at Nelson Ledges. Like to clear my head, go out on walks, and would make my niece model for me, and then when she got tired of my stuff, then I went on to my friends, and from there I got introduced to the Cleveland community, and it's just been going on from there.
Going from there. So photography 2 to 3 years ago, did you and even back in your high school yearbook, younger, like pre high school, did you find yourself in a creative space, or we know you had a sports background, right? And sometimes people are like, you have to go sports or art, and that wasn't how I was. But what about you?
It took me very long to realize I'm a creative person. I'm not analytical. I'm creative, and going to a smaller school, it's not a lot of people had that. You know what I mean? So it's like you do something outside the box, and everybody makes fun of you. You know what I mean? 23 years, I realized it's okay to dress up and do something fun and dress like a whole different person and go out and take pictures. Like I remember MySpace when that was a thing. When I was doing my profile pictures, I'd set up like a whole scenery and just do the most with it. And I never realized that's photography. Like that's being creative and setting up the whole thing. I don't know. So, and as a kid, like I'd always carry the little film cameras on me and everything too. It was always there. I just never embraced it and went with it and to make it to what it is now. Yeah.
Photography at kind of the seeds of that. Do you do other or because I wanna go flashback to a couple of years, but before we go there. You find yourself doing any other like 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional art? Did you sketch, paint, or were you like, nope, I found photography is my language? And
pretty much, like I really just never tapped into that creative side of me. I want to say maybe we'll say from high school. Like my mom always tried to keep me creative as a kid, like doing the hook rugs, stuff like that, and she does that with my niece now, and I try to keep her creative as well. But I lost that somewhere down the road, and I got it really into like partying and going out every weekend, doing stuff like that, and you realize that's not what it is. And like I said, I found that within myself again, and I was like, all right, I really enjoy doing this, and like this is what makes me happy, and it's a whole outlet that I never knew existed, and I'm so glad I found it.
Take us back. You had mentioned before that as healing and therapy was made that realization to express and to use that as a healing. Take us back there and kind of what that a point of your life looked like.
Right. So my brother was an addict for about 10 years. We'll say within the last no, well, when he passed away, which would be about 3 years ago, he was real bad off on heroin for that 3 years. So he went out to Florida. He was in rehab for about 3 months. Became a whole new person. Was talking great. Gained 30 pounds. Like, I didn't even recognize. It's product of his surroundings. I mean, it's what he knew up here, and he reached out to somebody who did not care about him, and they gave him horrible stuff, and he ended up passing. And this is a rough time for a minute. It still is rough. I mean, grieving is not linear whatsoever. Definitely comes in waves, and with that, you just kind of, you have to find something that keeps you sane, and to remind you that you are still here, and to do something to, I don't know, I try to channel that emotion. And it, like you said, when you look back in my early work, you see that a lot. And it's definitely, this journey's definitely helped me grow and get through that darkness, but also embracing that beauty in the darkness and appreciating it for what it is.
We understanding the healing properties of communication, because we're like visual photography, writing. I think folks who are not creative underestimate that. Right? I think that a lot of folks, we think of words, or we're always trying to describe things in words, and I think that a lot of folks out there might also identify with, I can't always describe things in words, nor do I want to. It's different. Feelings or emotions or whatever is different. And I would say that probably a large portion, majority maybe, of us are inspired by and communicate through emotions, through difficult emotions often. I think it's a healing power. I lost 3 brothers too, and so I know what it's like to grieve. And I am really sorry to hear about your brother.
Thank you.
I mean, it hurts here too.
Yeah. I'm sorry about your brothers as well.
Tell me about the process. Tragic loss. You find yourself, I understand, in the grieving loss, especially young man. You find yourself where? Behind a camera sometime. Where did the loss to...
So again, with the linear, I went through a very dark time, and but I'm thankful to have the support system that I do have, because without my family, my boyfriend, my good friends that do stick around, those are the people that kept me sane, because I would have gone down a completely different path. And that's why, again, I'm thankful that I found this creativeness and the people that understand that creativeness. Like, some of my friends and family, they love that I found this, but I could show them my work. Like, I'll show them that picture of Carrie, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's nice. That's good." Like, but they just don't see the art in it. You know what I mean? So, from my brother's passing, it was a little rocky there for a minute, but again, I found something to kind of help me channel those emotions to put them somewhere, instead of just like keeping them in here bottled until I explode, because we all know how that is. Yeah. And for those of you, partway, we're talking with Jess. She's a photographer. Some incredible work. We've worked together on some Gen XYZ, and so you're the photographer of some special effects projects we've worked on together. Yes, sir.
You also done some pretty gooey zombie hair and appliances.
Those actually just popped up on my Facebook memories today. I forgot to tell you. Yeah, exactly 1 year ago. I probably still have some of that goop in my hair if I dig hard enough.
The video's a little sketchy.
Oh.
I don't know. Are you on the Wi-Fi, or are you just on your cell?
I'm on the Wi-Fi.
I think that's the problem.
Should we move in?
Probably.
Or move to the front porch?
Yeah.
Let's move to the front porch.
Yeah, the front porch does get better.
Let's go to the front porch. You
To
would
the
just
front.
Yeah.
Another new experience of writing.
Guys, we're hang with us. We're gonna move to the front porch.
Oops, I'm dropping my mic all over the place. Sorry.
Left here and kind of this.
All right, guys. You want to walk with us? You want me to
You want to
carry?
take that?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you
I got
open up,
another
we'll-
hand.
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right.
All right, guys, welcome. We're going to walk through our house. We have folks that are watching. It's 4th of July week. We are moving to the front of our house from the back to the front because Beth was reporting that the Wi-Fi was a little sketchy. So thank you for hanging with us as we move. We get a quick tour of our house as well. So. Perfect. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to set up right here. Jess, we'll just carry our mics right over there. I think I'm going to set this down and let you kind of figure out where we're at.
It's a little better. And it was really pixelated, but I was like, this is a very serious conversation, and I don't know that I want to interrupt with
Yeah.
Say, just quit crying.
pixels.
And you know what? I'm going to actually, how does,
Yeah, where should?
let's both sit
Yeah,
back
that's
there.
fine.
And we're going to move that out. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging with our adjusting our location. We are talking with Jess. And
But that looks good.
does that look good?
Yeah.
Is this table
Better.
away? Should we move that table out of there?
No, can't even see it.
Cool.
Sounds good. Okay.
I'm gonna grab my laptop.
Thank goodness we have.
Looks much better.
Thank goodness we have a long weekend, huh? I'm gonna clip this up right here. And thank you, Joe Gall, for the mics because they really improved the sound.
Testing.
While we're readjusting, how about showing us the sake, and then we're gonna come back to the conversation. Yeah. And Beth, can you guide us as to, or maybe come up close
Yeah,
to
I'll
this?
come up here.
Because there's a story to this as well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
So I sat in with our buddy Matt Seal last Thursday. That's why she's a little crusty. She's healing right now. Sorry, Matt, don't look at it. I need to put some stuff on there.
So beautiful.
But yeah, excuse me, I sent him a couple different elements of what I wanted. Essentially, it's a life and death kind of hourglass concept piece. Lily represents the death in life. We broke open the bottom hourglass because nobody really knows what happens when we go. And this blue butterfly is my brother here. And yeah, he absolutely killed it. Like I said, I gave him a couple different elements and he threw this together. I'm amazed.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
And so, I mean, even having the story and having something representative that's autobiographical is, I mean, that's the language that we all speak here together.
Definitely.
So, as we kind of just retouch, you lost your brother. Untimely, unfair, to addiction. You found yourself the same that anybody would, and that's mourning and loss and such. And then you find photography as a way to communicate, as a way to heal. How did that loss change? So was it that you were just taking more yearbook photos prior to that, and after that it shifted, or what is that like?
Like I said, before my brother passed away, I was just focused on school at the time. I was going to Kent State full time for marketing. That consumed me in a whole other way. And again, I'm not an analytical person, and I stuck myself in an analytical situation. And so school was getting the best of me, and I was stressed out with that. I was practicing yoga quite a bit at the time, so I'd like to consider I was a little bit more peaceful before all that, and I tried to look at things, but I still do try to look at things the best positive side, but I don't want to say it's what sticks out to me is I had a friend message me when my brother passed away, reaching out to me and everything, and she's like, I don't want this to dull your shine. And that really, that hit me, because I was like, I still am a positive, glowing person, but it's crazy how something like that can just change you 100, like 180. And like I said, I went down that dark path for quite a bit, and I'm thankful I have the support system I do that pulled me out of it. And again, I found my photography, meeting new people with these great talents, and just so much individuality and creativity. And it's like, oh my God, I'm not the only person who likes to paint myself purple or dump blood on myself and go out. You know what I mean? So it's just good to know I'm not the only weird person out there. And
to have that voice, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A different way of communicating.
It's like you said, when emotions are hard and you can't find the words for them, and like I was saying, I'm not good with my words at all. You find an outlet for yourself, and yeah.
Looking back, and I would say some of the photos, images that rise to the top of them. And I was just clicking and flipping through images because I'm visual, and so my stories are, and what draws me in is the visual aspect. Some of your like really great stuff, and you've got a lot of great stuff. Some of your really great stuff is, I think, that wildlife, right? It's pictures outdoors. It's in the woods. It's in the pines. It's with fallen trees. And you were saying that was was it the Virginia Kindle? Or where was that photo
Nelson
of?
Ledges.
Nelson Ledges,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
You found yourself with a camera outside as part of that recovery?
Yeah. Like, I mean, going out and just breathing fresh air is pretty much therapy for anybody. And then you take the time to actually stop and look at that caterpillar crawling on the ground for a couple minutes, or you sit and you look at that flower over there for a few minutes instead of just walking past it and going on with your day. Is you stop and you appreciate things, as corny as that does sound. But yeah it's that, and I do want to get back into nature shots, because again, it's just the stillness of it all. As much as I love like fashion and creative portraits and all that stuff, it's just like boom, 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 boom a lot. So it's good to go at your own pace and to just have your camera with you and do your thing.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
How has, and I'm using this as a generic term, but how has your sight or your eyesight through a lens, did it shift? Did it change?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even just driving around during the daytime, I'll drive past somewhere and be like, oh wait, that's a good place to shoot right there, and just stuff like that. And I would have never even thought about that, we'll say 5 years ago, driving around. It's just like, boop, what's ahead of me? And yeah, it's so, I'm looking, I definitely see things differently now.
Yeah.
Through more of a creative eye. Like I said, I never embraced that creative side, so it's like, I'm always thinking, that'd be a fun spot to shoot. Ooh, I like that person's idea over there. Like, I pull inspiration from all over the place. And
you know, it's weird. It's a personal story, and that is, during some of those difficult times, I became attentive to vibration. It sounds really weird, but I became attentive to vibration, and it was my sensory stuff changed, and what I attended to visually changed as well. So I mean, I could completely relate. And as folks are out here, I mean, we all deal with tragedy. We don't all deal with the loss of brothers, fortunately, for those who haven't. But I think we all understand how our sensory perception changes during that. And then you find yourself snapping photos, attending to things, finding some, whether it was intentional, just saying I'm going to go out and get some wildlife photos, or whether you just decided to go out and commune with nature with your camera and see what would happen. At some point, you moved from that to connecting with some great models, and so how did that occur?
So like I said, I would take my niece out on these walks with me, or my best friend Kyle. He's still really supportive of me, but he was my model for a son. And when they got kind of tired of my stuff, then I started reaching. That's when I started my Instagram as well. So that really helped with reaching out to other artists in the area. And Cleveland Creates, I'm not sure if you've heard of them before.
Certainly have,
Yeah, they threw a huge collaborative event, and that's where I met a lot of people I still work with today. So shout out Cleveland Creates, you guys are awesome. But yeah, that switch was just really, I want to take this to the next level. Like how can I meet people, and how can I do something different that's not with the usual people? And it was, like I said, I've made a lot of great friends from it, clearly. So
Yeah, and for those of you who hear that bass, that's probably our young neighbors who we adore. We're out on our front porch here. It's 4th of July week in 2020. We're just kind of arising from the pandemic and isolation. Yeah, and hopefully we'll stay out for those of us who've had to endure this. And I think creatives have found, it seems like this is polarized, folks. People are like, I've just came to a standstill, nothing's gotten done, I haven't created anything, or some people are like, they're writing, they're taking photos, they're painting, they're...
Right.
How were you affected by that?
Oh man, I kind of took the step back option of it all.
Yeah.
For a minute there, I caught myself kind of just putting out what I can put out, taking pictures just to be able to post something, and to just, and I don't want to say that I don't love everything that I do, but like there's certain things that I could have probably gone without posting. And it's like then I took that step back just to kind of find out where I want to take my work and what direction I want to go with it from here on, and just focus on pieces that I am genuinely proud of to put out for people. So I recently have been getting out the last couple weeks and meeting with even more new people that I haven't worked with before, trying to expand that a little bit. And yeah, I'm just chilling for now.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely getting back out there internet. Have you guys been at home creating on your off time, or?
Yeah, I've been busy. I've been busy.
Always busy.
And Beth has been busy too, just not, although we're doing a lot of the portrait drawings with the Pretentious Cleveland Portrait Artists.
Yeah, I love that so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Have you guys gotten a lot of artwork sent to you and everything?
Wait,
or?
just wait till
Oh, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check those out before I go.
Stuff.
I love those.
It
Like
is-
we can
it is
open
amazing.
our own art gallery
Seriously.
with all the work that we've received for our family. It's been absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
everybody who's done that, you guys are amazing. I'm very jealous of your talent. Like I said, I can't even pull a stick figure.
And
Like,
we knew it was going to be good.
yeah.
But the level was way beyond our expectations.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, that's been, I mean, it kept us busy, but that's been a huge, like, unexpected, it was Christmas every week.
Yeah.
When the artwork would arrive. So, totally loved
That's
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
And so I think kind of being isolated physically has kind of shifted things for me as well. I just distracted. I went in a little different direction here, and it was because I feel your emotion. But there's a piece, or there's pieces that are real important that I don't want to leave that unturned, because I think it's such a strong piece, right? And that's your brother's his poem writing called Numb, which then you, from my perspective, because we've never talked about it before,
Right.
I've just seen it, and that feels as kind of a pictorial tribute to his writing. Is that the right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was on his anniversary. I went out with my good friend Kaylee DeSanto. She's a super talented photographer, and we went out in the woods. It was just as simple as me going out in the woods and getting dirty, and it was emotional. I mean, you can't really tell in the one picture. My brother loved his cigarettes, and he loved the woods, so that's why I chose the woods. So I did my best to. He probably would have been so mad at me for sharing his words, and for him being so, because he was always a sensitive guy, but he would never share how he felt. So when I found those, I essentially, we'll fast forward all the way back when we were kind of packing up his room a little bit, cleaning some things. I was going through his books from recovery and just looking for something with his handwriting on it for the tattoo, stuff like that. And I started flipping through like their day-to-day pieces that they would go through. And it's like, well, why did you start, like, how did, then he basically in this composition notebook wrote his full life story. And then behind that were those 3 poems. One of them is labeled, one of them's Numb, which was about his addiction. The other one's Desire, which is about him trying to find love, because that was always a big thing for him. And then last one's about his daughter. So that she'll be getting that one when the time's right. But so I found that, and that Numb poem really resonated with me. Like, those are his words. That's how he felt. And nobody can take that away from him. I mean, I remember when I found that book, my dad wanted to burn it. I said, absolutely not. You're going to give that to me if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Because that's how he felt, and you can't deny that. So I wanted to, like I said, he probably would have been mad at me for sharing his words and everything, but I wanted to get that out there just in case it could help somebody who is struggling, and just to enlighten people to see to put your feet in an addict's shoes. I mean, it is somebody's brother, sister, son, daughter. You know, it's not just somebody on the street. So.
And they're not just their addiction.
Exactly.
And I would imagine both in your family's grief
Mm-hmm.
and in trying to remember your brother
Mm-hmm.
and not let the addiction completely
Exactly.
color him and lose all the other memories.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that still has to be there, and that still has to go in with it.
Exactly.
And that's a really, complicated and huge.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't try to make sense of it, then that doesn't work as far as the grieving and the remembering. But if you try to overthink that too,
Mm-hmm.
then you're also defeating the purpose at that point also, when you're
Right.
breaking it down too simply.
Right.
And so, I mean, on the one hand, I can understand why your dad would be like, I just
I
don't
want
wanna think
nothing to
about
do
that,
with it, yeah.
or I'm not ready to, but right now my gut
Yeah.
instinct is get rid of it. But at the same time, it's like it was him,
Yeah.
and those were his words, and that was his heart. And,
Yep.
Yeah, that's
And
so tough.
A big thing in his last year and a half, we'll say, was people were seeing him as an addict, and that took a toll on his self-esteem even more. It's like people look at me and they see, pardon my French, a piece of shit, and that's not who he is.
Yeah.
He was functioning. He worked every day. He did great landscape work. He was hardworking, and he loved his daughter so much.
I would imagine that probably makes it harder, because for people, they, it's easier for them to try and wrap their brains around addict when they're not functioning.
Yep.
If he wasn't able to compartmentalize a little bit, you think, oh, okay, I can get a better picture on it at that point. But it makes it more complicated that he could be an addict and be functioning at the same time and loving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to the stigma of addiction itself. And like I said, I wish more people would take the time to sit back and kind of try to put their feet in those shoes, because it doesn't just start overnight. It's, for my brother personally, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it went back to childhood trauma. So, and it's just that, it's stuff like that. And it's not just a simple decision, well, I'm going to do heroin and ruin my life. Like, no,
Yep.
it's not at all.
The work I shared, I think actually 2 different pieces on 2 different announcements here. Was it 3 different, I don't know, was it like a pane or a presentation, each with 3, like a trilogy of photos?
Right. So I posted, because on my Instagram I do all in 3s. So it would have gone from the beginning of the poem to the end. The first post has the 2 slides in it, and that's like the first half of the poem. Then the middle section is the full poem, which is a picture of me, excuse me, with his handwritten poem laid over a picture of myself. And then the third is the last, like, second half of the poem. And then, yeah, it's broken up into the threes.
Yeah.
I wish I had my phone on me.
Oh yeah, it's I mean it is an amazing piece because you can feel it. I mean I think you did a phenomenal job not only of recreating that the feelings and taking the words and fusing them with imagery that it's an amazing work.
Thank you.
And I can see why that was healing as well. And I think your brother would be proud of that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, certainly. I mean it's phenomenal work, and it's the light that emerged out of this darkness is that you've got a whole passion that now you're following, which is some great work. A lot of what I shared too was, so you're taking a picture of your sister, your friend. I know from being an artist is sometimes we're taking so many images. They're like, okay, I'm out. I saw you as a model, as your own model, I would imagine.
Yeah. As
well. And so during that, I mean, you're doing the reps. You're figuring out probably your equipment, which I'm interested in hearing a little bit about. But I find yourself as the model as well. So tell us about that.
Are you referring to like just me modeling in general, or like the self-portraits that I tried?
Self-portraits.
Okay. Self-portraits I get very frustrated with the self-portraits. I've only done a couple. I've been getting more into the modeling side, or just the modeling aspect of it all, because that's a whole other outlet. Like, it's different for me to kind of, all right, model, here's my idea, go ahead and do it. But it's different when I can actually convey it, and so far and so forth. But yeah, the self-portraits are a little interesting. Like I said, I'm still new with photography, so I'm still trying to figure out the bumps here and there, but that's a whole other game. Yeah, those are fun. My boyfriend will walk in and I'm literally sitting there with like a mask on, flowers poking out of it, rubber gloves up to here. He's like, all right, Jess is working right now. So I'll set up my lights and the sheet in my living room and go to town.
And do you like control the camera with a
and that's where my frustration comes from. My remote, my handheld remote recently broke on me. I got to use it once and then it pooped out on me. So I got to get into that. But I found out with Canons, apparently you can go in on an app and you could view from your lens on the app everything. So I just need to play around with that a little more.
Oh, so you can set up your screen, have the camera there when you find it.
Yeah, when you take the picture, it immediately pops up on your phone. So from there, you can just adjust it versus getting up, going around, flipping through. So.
Of course, there's an app for that.
Of course, there's an app for anything anymore.
And there's going to be, over the next several weeks, several months, maybe several years, there's going to be a number of photographers that tune in here as well. You were saying self-portraits, suggesting that you're setting it up, taking the photos yourself, but you also said modeling, and you model quite a bit.
Yeah.
Where did that happen? So you're taking photos, then you find yourself, I want to, if I could only model, then I could create the photos. So then you kind of got on the other side of the...
Kind of. Like, I grew up watching, as corny as it sounds, America's Next Top Model, and I'd sit there and be like, oh my God, like, I want to do that. Like, how can I get dressed up like a chicken? Somebody take pictures of me all day. Like, I don't know. So, when I started photography, I started off on the other side of the lens because I was just trying to get my emotion out at that point. I wasn't worried about, I don't want to be main focused. Like, I just want to let somebody else convey it. But then I want to say last 6 months or so is when I've really started stepping in front of the other side of my lens. My friend Kaylee, again, I work with her a lot and she's been awesome. I started shooting with her, I want to say about a year ago now. And that's really when I started modeling. And from there, again, just reaching out to other artists that I love their work and they like what I do. So I love collabing. Like, I love when I can bring something to the table, but somebody else is bringing something, and then it works. And collabing's my favorite. But Yeah, modeling recently has been a whole other outlet for me. Like I said before, it's different when I can give a model an idea versus when I can actually go out and do it myself. And
do you coach the photographer who's taking the photos? How you're like, I'm kind of looking for this feel, and
well, that depends too, and that's if they have a certain concept, I will do my best, and I'll let them direct me and stuff. But if I have a concept in mind, like Kaylee, when she shot that portrait for like a project for me for my brother, she let me take full reins on it. She's like, where do you want to set up? Like, what angles do you want? Do you want a portrait, landscape? So kind of depends on the project, but for the most part, I like to let the photographer take their full reign and let them do their thing with it. But
the large majority of interviews, I don't even know how many we've done. I think we've got, I think on YouTube we're like upwards around 70 videos. So we've done a large number of interviews. Of those interviews, most of the folks have been in their mid to upper 40s, plus north, all the way till the 70s. We've only had a fewer folks who were a few years into their craft, and that there's something special about somebody who's not saying, well, 30 years ago I did this. I mean, because right now, I mean, you're like blazing that trail. You're dropping stepping stones down to, these are my goals. This is what I'd like to get, even if it's not anything specific, like I want to take a picture for the cover of Rolling Stone. I mean, whatever.
Right.
But you're just saying, each quarter, each year, I want to produce and improve and do these things. So you have a great perspective. A few years in, 2 to 3 years in, of really snapping photos, where what have you learned in the last couple years? Or I mean, and you'll be sharing this information with folks that are beginning. Not beginning where you're at. I mean, you're not a beginning. You're well into it. But somebody who's beginning this, and you're like, this is where a good place to start. Or
I mean, don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone and to reach out to those people and to ask them to work with you. I mean, like I said, that's really where my turning point happened, is starting to work with other creatives. Then that, again, the collaboration of everybody just bringing something to the table, and it just turns out to be something great. Again, get yourself out of the house and just kind of stay busy with it, even if it is just a nature walk, going around, or if it is just a quick 30-minute shoot with your daughter or something like that. Just stay busy and keep practicing, and it'll come to you.
Yeah. What kind of equipment do you use?
I am working on a Canon Rebel T6. I just got a new lens, and I can't remember the numbers on it because I'm horrible, but I'm in love with it. It's way more of a wide lens that I've worked with before, so I can get more of the background and just more conceptual stuff on my subjects.
Is it, and I'm not a photographer, is it important to invest in that equipment?
I know the body that I'm working on is still like a very basic beginner's kind of body. So starting off, you don't have to invest in that great, amazing lens or that $1,500 camera. You could start with a little point and click if you want. It's the eye and everything is, I feel like, is more than the actual equipment. You know what I mean? Like just to be able to see that angle and to see that concept. I'm looking at the bush because I'm thinking about taking a picture of the bush, but yeah, just to be able to see it, even if it is with a Polaroid camera or something like that. You don't need the top of the line.
Anyway. But you're not planning on just being a
No, like I said, I got that new lens. Yeah. I want to make some upgrades here soon. I'm waiting on it, but.
And you're for hire too, right? I mean, and the reason why I know is because Jess took photos. For an anniversary present, I took. I was like,
so good.
Yeah.
That was such a fun day.
Yeah, it was.
Exactly where those are.
It was an anniversary present, and I was like, I wanted to kind of take some photos, kind of the to memorialize we were married.
Yeah.
12. I think it was our 12th anniversary
right,
that I
yeah.
got it for, and I wanted 12 photos.
I like how you waited till she left to say that. Was it the 12?
The 12 or 13? I forgot but it was our 12th, and I wanted to provide 12 photos, each that represented kind of a different aspect of myself. Did a phenomenal job, by the way.
Thank you.
But a lot of the photos that one would see on your Instagram as well as in your Facebook, those are commission jobs too, right? Where you get called and you head down and...
For the most part, or most of them are, yep, there they are. Boop.
So, I cannot pick a favorite. I mean, they were all.
I'm glad you love
absolutely
them.
Incredible. There's another one.
I love that graffiti wall. That was such a cool spot.
And these were all taken in Independence.
Yeah, where I grew up.
Yeah,
So there
local
was
spots,
that locale that was great. But
This is like everybody was like, "Oh my gosh!"
The smoke worked so
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
The one that she took.
I don't smoke a pipe, but
You
I
did?
did for the photo.
We both love the smell of pipe tobacco.
Yes, yep.
And the visual of
Yeah.
the swirling smoke and such.
Well, and did you tell her? So, I don't know where we were, and he was showing me photos on his phone, and there was a photo of, he had a picture of, let me find it.
It was in my gallery,
Oh, yeah.
and
This one.
Oh, that one?
Yes. And I'm flipping through, and I'm like, who the crap's been taking photos of my husband with the shirt off in the woods?
That's coming for me. Oh,
And his facial expression, I mean, it's kind of hard to like ruffle him, and he very rarely gets panicked looking, but on that one, there's zero way for him to explain that.
well,
you're scrolling through. Oh,
yeah, the explanation was I didn't want to spoil the surprise.
Right,
so I was
right.
like, how much of the surprise do I have to, do I have to expose in this? But the point
It
is
was amazing.
Is that-
like
the point is that you take amazing photos, and that's why I was like,
Thank you.
I've got to have Jess come and you I mean, your angles, your vision, the way you see, I think is, I mean, you're a natural at that, and so that's
Thank you
why
very much.
why I thought it was important to hire you as well.
They were great. They were great.
As we're kind of closing in, and if there's any questions, shoot those through. And it's not important that you ask them now, because as you ask questions, even after this is live, it allows both Jess and myself, if it's a question that we both weigh in on, we'll answer that later too. So even if you're not live, feel free to ask questions. But I've got a couple questions to ask, and that is 2021, which is even strange to say, 2021 and the next 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have kind of a particular direction or something that you're looking to do in the next 2 or 3 years?
I definitely like to get published somewhere here soon. I'm not sure exactly what lines I want to go with that, or like what magazine or anything like that, but I'd love to get some of my work published. I have to figure out how to go about doing that, but and then I really just kind of solidifying and establishing myself as a paid artist, because I think we were kind of talking before that not a lot of my work on my Instagram, my Golden Hearts portrait page with like my family portraits, stuff like that, that's more kind of my commission stuff, but my Just Shoot Me stuff, that's mostly collaborative and just my creative kind of work. So I kind of want to focus more of just solidifying that as an artist and being more established with that and kind of turning it more into a business. But
you have any questions before I ask my last one, Beth, for you? Or I mean, it's okay
No.
because you're back there. You're sitting in front of the laptop, in front of the camera. We had to move through the house because of a weak Wi-Fi tonight.
Shockingly, normally I have like questions, but
Yeah.
not today.
It's if somebody asked me this question 25 or 30 years ago, I would never have, and it's probably an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And it'll be nice as you look back in a few decades. If you had to kind of look back, look forward, what are some things that you'd like to be remembered for?
Just being a genuine person, honestly. I mean, I personally, I've had any great experience I've had has outweighed any bad experience I've had in this community, but you do find those people that are just out to get the best of you and that are out to just drain your energy and stuff like that, and it's stay away from those people. But it's just forget where I was going with that, but just kind of
genuine.
Just stay genuine with it.
Yeah.
And I just want to be known for being a good person, because I feel like there's not too much of that left anymore. But
well, one of the things that you'll be known for is for producing, because to me, I continue to see stuff out there, and that's inspired me. It's inspired other people as well.
Thank you.
And I think that's such an important thing for artists, which is just keep doing it. We learn in the process of doing it. For those who share, next week, if you share this interview to one or two or to a group, we're going to have Jess, and she's going to autograph, and we're going to send, pick out 2 names. This is artwork. Can you see them both, Beth?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to give these out next week, and you'll want these because when Jess is published and doing covers, you'll be able to say, I remember that Tuesday at 7 back in 2020, and I have, and
original photos.
there you go, there you go. And yeah. Thank you, Jess, for sharing your story.
Oh, of course.
It's many of our stories have the ups and the downs of life, and sharing how art, creativity, photography has been important in your healing is not an easy story or journey to reflect upon, but it's meaningful to me, and it's meaningful to people out there as well, and so we want to thank you for that. Guys, thank you for spending the Tuesday night with us. It is the 4th of July weekend, so we're going to toast out just like we toasted in. Guys, have a great 4th of July, and we'll see you next week.